Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great and welcome to this new video. Still wanted to do a middle of the day market update. As I know I said yesterday that I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do that, but we're just going to do a quick update. All right, there's not much going on, but I do have some updates on Solana. I have some updates on XRP. I have an update on the whole BNB situation, so the Binance narrative situation, or at least my thoughts on that right now. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about a little bit about next week as well. I mean, obviously, we ended last week. I wanted to say last month, but last week with some new tariff news, and most likely this week we are going to get some news on the tariffs. So what we saw last week. When we looked at the futures, you saw that the S&P 500, the stocks, had absolutely crashed, all right? They closed relatively bearish here, as you can see, after, like I said, we had some sort of an indication of new tariffs hitting the markets this upcoming week. So this is going to be interesting to see how this develops, all right? In short, the main two kind of fundamentals, the kind of macroeconomic, financial numbers I care about are the S&P 500 and the dollar strength index, all right? And what I want to see is a bearish dollar strength index and a bullish stock market. So that is something we'll have to monitor over the next 24 hours. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's very hard to predict how it's going to open. I would say it's going to open neutral, all right? I think it's now a little bit more neutral. That these tariffs are coming in, and I think it's fairly priced in as well. Now, next week, as some of you already know if you watched my Bitcoin video this morning, we do have some major news. Basically, the entire week we have major economic data. So on Tuesday, we have the testimony by Jerome Powell. On Wednesday, we have inflation rate data and the second testimony. Thursday, we have initial jobless claims and PPI. And then Friday, we have retail sales, and that doesn't really matter. Friday is fine. And we have the Dutch GDP growth rate. That matters as well, but just for me. So no, those are fundamentally kind of the things I'm looking at. In regards to Bitcoin, situation is still the same. And I know since like last week, Wednesday, I've basically said the same, and that is that I thought it was most likely that we would drop down lower. And I think overall, I've been right. I mean, it's been relatively slow, but that is... basically the structure, right? I mean, usually when you're in the range right here, you can have a lot of volatility, you can have a lot of volatility within the range. I mean, so at this point of time, what I also think it's possible, especially since the volume in the markets is very low, is that we do some spikes up and spikes down right here. But I think ultimately the main level that we're going towards is this level at 92, 93, 91,000. I think that's more likely given the current fundamentals. I would also say, technically speaking, that filling this wick, or at least partially filling the wick we made last week, is most likely technically. So therefore, I'd say that's the most likely direction. So I still think that. Like I said, to kind of expand on that, the volume right now for Bitcoin is $23 billion. The last time we saw volume like that is January, but the last time before that was October, right? Or the beginning of November. It's a possibility as well. But so the volume is very low, so that means liquidity is most likely also lower. So that means we're going to get volatility, and that's also why I'm telling you we can have a spike up, but I don't think a spike up, or I don't think a move up will be real unless it's actually accompanied by extra news that's bullish for the markets. Bitcoin dominance also still very high, also still bullish. 4-hour time frame, maybe it's consolidating. That's fine. It's still too high for altcoins to really do something. And that's also what you can see right now. Most altcoins are very correlated. Almost all altcoins are underperforming Bitcoin right now. That's also why the Bitcoin dominance is going up. So that means that personally, I'm not trading altcoins, all right? I do have one small trade open, but that's a relatively uncorrelated altcoin, so that doesn't matter. Most of the altcoins right now that you know and that we trade are correlated, and therefore I'm not trading them. And there isn't much strength either. Now talking about Solana had a bit of a fake out because it was able to break above $200 on the 4-hour time frame. But you can see it now actually dropped down, or it never closed above that on the 12-hour time frame. So also for Solana, unless we get bullish news for crypto, which is always a possibility, I still think it's most likely for Solana to drop down into 185 and 175. And XRP, same thing. All right, XRP also had some bullish momentum this weekend, but it was accompanied with no volume, or low volume at least. So same thing. There's no, unless we see some specific news for XRP come out, it's most likely we're dropping down into that range low at 2.1. Then outside of that, I mean, the talk of this weekend was obviously the BNB and the Binance bullish momentum. For me, the most important level is 630. And I've already expressed my thoughts on this narrative, on this hype earlier this morning. And that is that usually hypes and usually trends in the weekend do not continue in the next week. All right, so therefore, we've not been able to break above 630. I would assume BNB at least is also losing volume here, but I'm not sure about that. It might still be it's losing a little bit, but it has still gained for a long period of time. But if this starts losing volume, I think it's confirmed that it's most likely that this is going to drop back down into 550 and 540. And therefore, I don't think the narrative is going to last. It could still, if, like I said, we get some more momentum, but it doesn't look like that momentum is coming, and therefore, I'm telling you, I don't think it's most likely we will. And those are my thoughts. There's not many altcoins that I necessarily need to talk about. I mean, something like Magic Eden, ME, is quite bullish, but same thing. It's just a matter of time before that's going to drop down again. It's not a great project. And outside of that, there's not much. I'll keep you updated on this. I'll be back tomorrow. If there's opportunities then, I will let you know. But for now, I think that's what you need to know. So thank you for watching. Take care and bye.